Hi everyone, this is Lori here with Lori Hooks. Welcome. Thanks for hanging out with me today. So today's video is a yarny catch-up where I talk about what I've been working on lately. So this time I have to show you a finished object, a couple works in progress, and a new whip. So let's get started with the finished object. And that is the shawl that I showed in my last video, which was about 2 weeks ago. Let me get it back over here. So this is the finished shawl. So first of all, I'll show you the yarn label. This is Lion Brand Mandela watercolors. This is what the label looks like. It is a discontinued yarn, and this colorway is called Quarry. And Shell over at Shell Crochet, hi Shell, she gave me 6 cakes of this in the colorway Quarry, and I used all 6 cakes to make this. I just kept going until I ran out of yarn, and the little ball I have left is somewhere here on my table, but it's about this big, so not quite. I don't think it was enough to do another row, so that was when I quit. So here is my shawl. There is the center section. It's about, here's how long it is. When I have it draped over my shoulders, it reaches to my butt. And this is the one side. And the other side. It's a little bit more than my wingspan wide, so I would say it's probably about, here's my wingspan, and this much more. So I'd say it's probably about 6.5 feet wide. And the length, probably about 2 feet. I used a 10mm hook, and I just kept going until I ran out of yarn. So as soon as she gave me this yarn, right away in my head, I thought this is a Ruana or a shawl. And I had a Ruana pattern that I already bought. I will put a picture in here of it, and I will link it in the description box below. I basically used this pattern, but I didn't do it in the Ruana shape. I did it as a shawl shape. And she has, I used a different stitch count for the eyelet holes, that's all. So I didn't know if I had enough yarn to do a Ruana, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to keep going until it's all done, and I didn't want to run out partway through the Ruana. So that's why I went with the shawl instead. And I think I'll get the same use out of it. So that was my reason for it. I really enjoyed working on it. It's a mindless project, and I could just crochet away and enjoy some TV time. I did not color control at all, except for I did use the cakes in the order where the color that's finishing, that's the color that I'm starting with, and then work through the cake. So I did kind of put them in order to work with the color changes, but other than that, I did not color control at all, and I think that it came out really nice. So very happy with this. It's a nice mindless project, worked up pretty fast because of that large hook and bulky 5 yarn. And yeah, that is my finished object I have this week. So whips. I did some traveling on the weekend. Last weekend was Thanksgiving. So my travel projects are always dishcloths. So I did start another dishcloth. That's how far I got. So it's almost done. I just need to probably spend an hour, not even an hour one night, and just get it done. And this is, I got this cone from Spin Right, and it came like this with no label. I call this color candy corn because they're candy corn colors. What it's really called, I don't know. It's probably Bernat Handicrafter, or it's Lily Sugar and Cream, same thing. But yeah, dishcloth, knit dishcloth. And for my knit dishcloth, I usually use a 6mm knitting needle. So that's that. And another whip that I've been working on that I showed you guys last week And I believe last week I had finished about this much. Not last week, 2 weeks ago when I did a video. And since then I worked up to about to here. I'm just guessing because I didn't mark where I showed you in my last video, but I'm pretty sure I was done to here or around here. And then this is what I've worked on since then. This pattern is called the Island Cal, and it's by Tina. Not going to attempt to pronounce her last name. I call her the Mosaic Queen. She has all these beautiful mosaic patterns. Her tutorials are very, very good, very explanatory, and they're also quite entertaining. She's fun just to sit and watch do a tutorial while you're working on something. She rambles on about random stuff. But yeah, she has a tutorial for, this was the first section that there was no tutorial for. There was a tutorial for from here down. And after that, you'd need to buy the pattern to do it. Now, of course, you could, and she says this in her tutorial, you could just do these sections as repeats and work it up. But as I said, I bought the pattern. It is a cowl. I bought it while the cowl was on and on sale. And yeah, and the yarn that I'm using for this, some is from my stash. So I picked out 3 colors of blue of the Stylecraft Special DK. And this color here is Empire. So this is the darkest one I'm using. So this is Empire. And then this one's turquoise. And then this little tiny ball I have left, this one's sherbet. And I do have more of these. Well, I don't actually have the dark color, but I still have more of the other 2. But not in Stylecraft Special DK. I have the same colorways in the sheepies. What do they call it? Sorry, I'm looking over there because there's one over there. It's sheepies. I can't think of what it's called. But I have more in those colorways, and they're very, very close to these. They use the same color numbers, but different names. And it's almost like a lot change difference. So yeah, and the white that I'm using is this Loops and Threads Snuggly Wuggly acrylic, and it's a DK weight. I bought this at Michael's just to do this blanket for, and I am on to my second skein. So that is a blanket. And those blues, I had already started those skeins. They're left over from another project that I was working on. So then my other new whip, because I guess the dishcloth is a new whip, is I bought this yarn. This is the yarn. I bought it last year, around this time last year, and I bought it in bulk, and I've forgotten. I probably bought 10 of these skeins. They were super cheap. And excuse me, the color, these are Sidar, I want to say Snuggly Wuggly, but that's the name on the Loops and Threads. So I'll put the name here. And the colorway is Bounce. But I bought a bunch of these, and I had seen them worked up. I was looking at something on Facebook, and I saw this sweater this lady had made with them, and I decided that because of how cheap they were, to buy some and to make a sweater because I really liked hers. I'm not using the same pattern as she was because it's one of those, hers was one of those hexagon cardigans, and to be honest, they don't look the easiest to make. I started to make one last year, and it's sitting unfinished somewhere because it frustrated me. So I decided just to do a sweater panels type sweater. There's a free pattern on Yarnspirations. I believe it's called Lounge Around Hoodie, where you work front panel, a back panel, a hood, sleeves, sew it all together. I'm not a fan of the sewing together part. I'll just crochet them together. But that's what I decided to do with it. So this is my back panel so far. That's what it looks like when it's worked up. So again, I'll show you up close. This is what it looks like in the skein. It has these little lines on it, and that's what it's like when it's worked up. So I'm using a 10mm hook for this. The pattern that I'm using, it calls for Bernat blanket yarn and an 8mm hook. This yarn is a little bit thinner than so I did go up to a 10 to get gauge. I did try it with an 8 first, but I didn't want to. I could have, because it's super simple design, that I could have just upped the stitch count and kept with the 8, but I decided to make the stitch count the same as what it was and get gauge. I went up to the 10. Although it might have been nicer with the 8 because it has a little bit of a tiny bit of holes right now between the stitches, but I think that it's going to make it so it's got super nice drape the way that it is, and it's nice and soft. So we're going to stick with the bigger hook, work it up super fast. That's what I was interested in doing right now, so that's what I'm sticking with. So that is my whip that I just started, and I started that one yesterday, so it's right at the beginning stage. So yeah, so that is what I have been working on lately. So let's talk quickly about life stuff. As you said, I did my last video about 2 weeks ago. I've forgotten if I did it on Wednesday or Thursday. Today's Thursday, but Thursday afternoon, 2 weeks ago, I fell down about 3 or 4 steps in my house. I was coming down the stairs to I was coming from my desk and was going to put some dirty dishes in the kitchen and turn the dishwasher on. I had a plate for my afternoon snack, and I had my coffee cup in my hand and wasn't holding the railing because my hands were full. I was talking to the dog as I was coming down and slipped off the step and went down 4 stairs and hit my back because I was trying to protect the coffee cup and the plate because they stayed in my hands the whole way down. But I bruised up my back on the left side, so basically I spent 4 days doing almost nothing. I could stand up and I could walk around for a little bit. But bending over was very difficult, and getting up and down was very difficult. Sleeping, very difficult. So I spent most of those 4 days when I initially did it just sitting in my chair and either chilling or crocheting because I didn't sleep very good. I spent a fair bit of that time just resting and trying to, because I was exhausted because I hadn't slept. Once I got a few days in, the pain was a lot better and was able to move around a little bit more and get less stiff. So I'm not 100% yet, but I'm back to doing everything that I normally do, and my back's not hurting too much. It does once in a while. I get a little tweak when I get in and out of the car or I turn a certain way, and it just feels tired, but I'm really getting there and it's almost better. Thankfully, I had a week between when I fell and last weekend, which was Thanksgiving, which if you are in Canada, I hope that you had a fantastic Thanksgiving weekend with your family or friends. We spent the weekend up north at my parents' place. My husband and I took Friday and Tuesday off. We planned it months ago. So we took the extra 2 days and went up north to my parents' house. Had Thanksgiving there. My daughter doesn't have school on Fridays, so she came with us on Thursday night, and her and my son came back on Monday because they had to work or go to school on Tuesday. As well as my brother came for Saturday and Sunday, so we had a nice visit with them as well. My brother, his wife, and one of his 2 kids. His other one she's in university. She's away at university and she didn't come home for Thanksgiving. So that's what we have been up to. I'm glad that I did have that week in between. If I had fallen on the Thursday right before Thanksgiving, we wouldn't have been able to go. We would have had to stay home because there's no way that I could have handled the car ride. And there's no way that I would have let my mother wait on me all weekend, because that's what it would have turned into. I would have spent the weekend basically sitting in a chair and my mother waiting on me. I was more comfortable at home, and yeah. So that part worked out. But yeah. So that is what I've been up to lately, besides crocheting, besides working, doing the things I normally do. We're outside of activity time of year, so I have more time to crochet and I'm more interested in crocheting. But yeah, that's what I've been up to, guys. So I guess that is it for today's video. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If I haven't mentioned it already, the links for all these patterns, etc., are going to be in the description box below, as well as links for channels that I mentioned, that kind of stuff. But thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for subscribing to my channel. Thanks for liking my videos, and I will see you next time on Lori Hooks. Bye, everyone.